Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In the bustling halls of General Hospital and the murky nooks of Port Charles, the week of April 27th unfurled like a tightly strung spring, ready to shatter under the weight of secrets, suspicions, and simmering rivalries. Tensions had been rising for weeks, with old betrayals resurfacing and new alliances forming in the most unexpected places. Willow Kane became increasingly isolated as her carefully crafted veneer began to crumble, while Jocelyn Jacks plunged headfirst into a perilous mystery involving a guy claiming to be Nathan West. Meanwhile, Curtis Ashford's protective instincts drew him deeper into an inquiry that threatened to disrupt lives close to home. The intertwined stories of love, vengeance, and survival unfolded against the backdrop of a community where no one could fully escape their history. The week began on Monday, with Elizabeth Baldwin receiving surprising news concerning Jason Morgan. Whispers regarding Jason's location had been circulating for days, and the update provided a combination of comfort and alarm to those who still hoped for his return. Elizabeth, ever the faithful nurse and friend, took the news gently at first, her mind racing with flashbacks of previous crises surrounding the mysterious enforcer. She confided with a co-worker briefly, wondering how this development might affect Carly Spencer and her children, particularly Jocelyn. She had no idea that Jocelyn was already stirring the pot somewhere else. That day, Valentine Cassadine made an astonishing confession. In a private moment away from prying eyes, he spoke openly about his complicated past and current deceptions, disclosing layers of his involvement in plots that had long tormented Port Charles. His statements were tinged with remorse and calculation as he considered the hazards of his current goals. Valentine's admission was more than just a moment of vulnerability. It reframed multiple previous interactions, pushing listeners to reconsider alliances that appeared firm. Nearby, Ethan Lovett contacted Sonny Corinthos with an audacious proposition that indicated at his larger motivation for returning to town. Sonny, no stranger to opportunistic deals, listened closely, his countenance cautious as he assessed if Ethan could be trusted or if this was just another layer of manipulation in the ever-changing power relations. Jocelyn Jacks, energized by her recent discoveries at Windermere, wasted no time asking Dante Falconeri. She ambushed him with probing questions regarding the Faison case and the mysterious individual returning as Nathan West. Jocelyn's determination originated from her snowed-in misery, during which she discovered cigarillos like Caesar Faison's hallmark brand and indications pointing to a broader plot. Dante, caught off surprise but maintaining his coolness as a detective, carefully handled her queries, divulging bits of information without giving away too much. Jocelyn suspected Nathan was more than he appeared, a potential fake or someone with ties to the infamous Faison family. Her willingness to go further paved the way for bombshell revelations later in the week. Jen Sidwell saw a heated encounter involving James West throughout, his suspicions building as he detected undercurrents of dishonesty that could jeopardize his own position in Port Charles. Sidwell's keen eyes missed nothing, and his unsettling proximity to the younger generation alarmed many who knew of his vicious reputation. As the week progressed into Tuesday, Tracy Quartermain gave a harsh warning to her granddaughter Brooklyn. The two women revealed a serious secret about a cover-up surrounding Jordan Ashford's recent vehicle accident. Tracy pushed Brooklyn to remain calm and composed, underlining that any lapse would jeopardize their efforts to handle the aftermath quietly. Tracy had already taken precautions to deal with tangible evidence, such as Brooklyn's wrecked automobile, but she was aware that emotions may betray them. Their discourse had an undertone of familial devotion coupled with self-preservation, which is typical of Quartermain relationships. Brooklyn nodded, but her anxiety persisted beneath the surface, knowing that the truth will eventually emerge and affect innocent lives. Curtis Ashford, meantime, shifted his inquiry into Jordan's hit-and-run. New evidence pointed to a black SUV as the vehicle involved, and with information regarding German-made paint on the railing, Curtis began to consider alternative suspects outside his initial suspicions. He had earlier addressed Isaiah Gannon angrily, believing his black SUV made him the most likely candidate for the driver who fled the scene. But Curtis reconsidered, telling Laura Spencer about his doubts and the emotional toll the catastrophe had put on his family. His investigation grew as he sought substantial evidence, desperate to protect Jordan and bring justice without jumping to judgment again. Jordan opened out to a confidant named Justine at this time, discussing her concerns about potential damage and how the incident may affect her future. Despite the physical and emotional suffering, an unexpected arrival later in the week lifted her spirits by reminding her of Port Charles's support network. Lucas Jones got a heartwarming offer that evoked strong emotions, most likely a remembrance or tribute to the late Marco Rios. The gesture had a deep impact on Lucas, highlighting the community's method of honoring those lost in the pandemonium. Lucas' attitude deteriorated as personal frustrations erupted. He approached Carly Spencer in a furious discussion, lashing out at her decisions and associations. Rumors of Carly's association with an unknown figure, possibly the fugitive Valentine, had reached him, and Lucas expressed his displeasure in no uncertain terms. The incident upset both sides, with Lucas questioning his loyalty and Carly defending her autonomy in a town that is ready to pass judgment. Michael Corinthos visited with his ex-wife Willow on Tuesday, and their chat was laden with underlying tension about their children, Wiley and Amelia. Michael had been considering a new plan for weeks, and this interaction indicated that his resolve was hardening. Willow, sensing the change, kept her composure, but fractures were developing. Her own maneuvers, including a previously covert agreement with Jack Brennan, placed her in an advantageous position. She had given Brennan a promotion in exchange for gathering embarrassing material about her husband, Drew Kane, in order to strengthen her position and counter threats to her custody and power. The deal, if successful, may propel her forward, but it also entangles her in perilous connections. By Wednesday, the pressure had increased significantly. Lulu Spencer was outraged to find that Britt Westbourne had been welcomed into the inner circle regarding Rocco Falconeri's secret about the shooting of Ross Cullum. Rocco had already confided in Britt, and the information spreading fueled Lulu's protective instincts as a mother. Her outrage underscored the fragility of trust between mixed families, as well as the consequences of keeping violent secrets. During this time, Michael revealed more of his strategy, outlining procedures that could tip the custody battle with Willow in his favor. Details slowly surfaced, revealing potential legal moves and alliances that astonished even close observers. Jacinda Bracken, who was on the fringe, became aware of Michael's techniques, adding another layer of complication to the family drama. Elizabeth Baldwin confronted Willow in a forthright talk, emphasizing the importance of alternative communication techniques for Drew's recovery. Liz's demand was based on her observations of Drew's attempts to communicate for help, subtle SOS patterns she had spotted during a visit. Willow, backed into a corner, deflected but became visibly concerned as she saw her influence over Drew's situation was eroding. Elizabeth's probing questions forced Willow to confront the ethical boundaries she had violated, creating the impression that her machinations were catching up with her. Jocelyn, continuing her relentless investigation, discovered tantalizing new information that afternoon. Her investigation into the Faison connection and the man posing as Nathan revealed indications that were too big to ignore, possibly linkages to ancient conspiracies or evidence that Nathan was not who he claimed. She pulled together parts of her Windermere discoveries with new information, her delight tinged with apprehension as she grasped the ramifications for Dante, Valentine, and potentially broader threats in Port Charles. This insight galvanized Jocelyn, establishing her as an important actor in uncovering the fraud. Curtis strengthened his bond with Laura by discussing the investigation's twists and turns, as well as his growing suspicions. Their conversation provided him with emotional stability, allowing him to plot without the bias of his first allegations against Isaiah. Curtis' shift away from tunnel vision exhibited progress, but the case remained far from concluded, with black SUV details pointing to possibilities that could include others. Thursday brought additional conflicts to the forefront. Lucas exacerbated his disagreement with Carly, accusing her of risky activities that could imperil the family. Carly, surrounded by increased scrutiny, defended herself passionately, but the walls tightened. Jack Brennan seemed disturbed after discovering a troubling discovery, most likely related to Carly's clandestine deals or Valentine's presence, indicating that her luck would soon run out. The noose of consequences tightened around her decisions. Britt revealed a secret during a stressful time, causing ripples and affecting numerous people who had previously been kept in the dark. Ethan found himself in a dubious scenario, with his offer to Sunny earlier in the week raising doubt as motives collided. Lucy Coe attempted to provoke Ava Jerome in her usual dramatic style, rekindling old rivalries and adding levity and mayhem to the hospital's social undercurrents. As the week came to a close on Friday, Sunny sought out Britt for a pointed talk, possibly hoping to form an alliance in Jason's absence or to address common concerns about Ethan and Christina. Carly's problems worsened as discoveries threatened to expose her. Jordan's emotions were lifted by a surprise guest who provided consolation throughout her rehabilitation problems and concerns about the long-term implications. Brooklyn grew increasingly agitated, the weight of the cover-up with Tracy pressing on her conscience. She was concerned that Trina Robinson would discover the truth as a result of their previous package exchange and encounter, which had unintentionally brought Trina into their orbit. The prospect of the accident's secret being revealed loomed big, jeopardizing reputations and relationships. In a lighter moment amid the drama, Cody Bell gave Molly Lansing Davis good news, delighting her and cementing their growing romance. The positive development provided a little respite, demonstrating how personal delights endured even as greater storms raged. Willow's cornering became a recurring topic this week. From Elizabeth's frontal challenge to Michael's emerging plot to the aftermath from her bargain with Brennan, she traversed a minefield of suspicion. Her desire to keep control over Drew's care and the lives of her children clashed with growing opposition, leaving her on the defensive and carefully planning her next steps. Any error may jeopardize the accomplishments she has made since partnering with strong forces. Jocelyn's pursuit of the phony Nathan grew with each piece of delicious information. Her queries to Dante, together with information shared with Valentine and Lulu, built a picture of a guy whose identity and motivations raised serious concerns. The cigarillo hints and Faison ties suggested the resurgence of old evils or a brilliant impersonation intended to infiltrate Port Charles. Jocelyn's renegade pursuit, which combined amateur investigation with WSB instincts, put her in peril, but her resolve only became stronger. Curtis' examination into Isaiah progressed from direct confrontation to a more subtle inquiry. While he had initially focused on Isaiah's black SUV, which matched the evidence from Jordan's collision, additional information pushed him to explore other options. His candor with Laura indicated a desire for clarity and justice, not vengeance. Isaiah, for his part, had remained firm in previous encounters, but the lingering suspicion caused difficult tensions, especially with connections to Portia and Trina. These arcs were interwoven with subplots that added to the tapestry of Port Charles. Valentine's confession made his fugitive status and alliances more morally difficult. Ethan's proposals and suspicions emphasized themes of redemption and concealed loyalty. Sunny's actions with Ethan and Britt hinted at future power vacuums. The heartfelt moments, such as Lucas's memorial offer and Jordan's inspiring visit, reminded viewers of the human cost of the schemes, the loss, healing, and hope that endure. By the end of the week, the stage had been set for further escalation. Willow's position felt more insecure than ever, with her cornering serving as a fuel for desperate decisions. Jocelyn had parts to a puzzle that may reveal a fake Nathan and disturb several lives. Curtis' careful study promised insights that may either mend or further fracture families. Port Charles, the epicenter of drama, buzzed with expectancy. Alliances moved, secrets strained at the seams, and characters braced for the consequences of hasty or calculated decisions. The hospital itself acted as a mute witness, its antiseptic halls filled with hushed discussions and frantic footfall. Nurses like Elizabeth juggled professional responsibilities with personal commitments, while doctors and patients alike skirted the hazy line between care and conspiracy. The events of the week resonated in living rooms and covert gathering sites all throughout town, from the Quartermain estate to Sunny's property. Families reunited or broke further, romances rekindled or were tested, and investigations drew closer to truths that may change relationships. Willow, alone at times, considered the cost of her desires. Her agreement with Brennan had provided leverage, but Liz's publicity and Michael's plan threatened to undo everything. She contemplated how to retain her image as a dedicated wife and mother while dismissing concerns about Drew's health. She created the situation she found herself in, but getting out required even more risky acts. Jocelyn, fueled by adrenaline, reviewed her Nathan notes. The tantalizing material pointed to anomalies in his story, mannerisms, knowledge gaps, or links that were too fortuitous to be ignored. Targeting the imposter became personal, linked to her sense of justice and concern for those she loved. She had considered approaching him directly, but caution prevailed because the stakes included dangerous figures like Sidwell and fragments of Faison lore. Curtis, while debating theories with Laura, emphasized fairness. His initial eagerness to blame Isaiah gave way to thoroughness, which included pain analysis, vehicle information, and timeframes. Isaiah's SUV remained a factor, although other black automobiles or alibis were considered. The investigation went beyond the disaster to larger issues of responsibility in a town prone to cover-ups. As Monday gave way to Friday, the cumulative effect grew near May's sweeps region. Emotional outbursts, such as Lulu's wrath and Lucas' encounter, revealed raw nerves. Positive notes, such as Cody and Molly's joy or Jordan's uplifted spirits, provided balance, demonstrating that ties can continue even in the midst of difficulty. The week highlighted General Hospital's essence, interwoven lives where a single discovery might cascade throughout the community. Willow's cornering signified a potential downfall or rebirth via cunning. Jocelyn's pursuit of the fictitious Nathan promised to have far-reaching consequences. Curtis' investigation of Isaiah, with its twists and openings to Laura, focused on issues of trust and redemption. Each night, Port Charles residents returned home with unanswered concerns about custody disputes, identity deceptions, hidden-run suspects, and fugitive entanglements. Nonetheless, the town's resiliency shone through, with its residents ready to face another day of love, tragedy, and intrigue. The April 27th update left viewers waiting for resolutions, knowing that, as is typical of soap operas, twists were just around the corner, ensuring no narrative remained stagnant for long.